Sanofi reporting better than expected quarterly sales. It also hiking its dividend, announcing a $5 billion share buyback program. So there's a lot to get into here. Paul Hudson is here. He's Sanofi CEO. Paul, welcome to the broadcast. Let's talk about the quarter. I'd also love to talk about some of your thoughts around the dividend decision and the buyback decision.
Well, we had a great 2024 for sure. And not only did we advance ourselves in terms of our financial performance, but also our pipeline. And we're able to reward shareholders, like we'd said, both in dividend and, of course, the buyback. It's important, we're a good investment, even for us. And we set ourselves up very, very well for 25. We finished 24 with 11% growth on the top line. And, our business is top line and pipeline. And with the successful launches last year, 3 launches to come this year, we've really positioned ourselves extraordinarily well.
Walk through what's working, maybe what's not working, or what's not working the way you want it to in terms of what you think will happen this year. Obviously, the big winner is Beyfortus, which protects against the sort of respiratory virus that folks have.
Well, I've been coming on here for 5 years, preparing ourselves to get into this launch sequence. And it takes a while in pharma, as you know, to do things that have simply never been done before. Beyfortus is protecting, over 6 million babies in this RSV season, reducing their chance of going to hospital by 80%. Dupixent in COPD is really the first advanced therapy that's going to be available for those patients. And Altuviiio in hemophilia A, giving people a next to normal life on a weekly basis. So those things have been doing really well. We're very proud of them. We're powered by AI, as we've said before. We're a leaner, meaner, more focused organization. And right up ahead of us, and this is where it gets exciting, we have rilzabrutinib in ITP. We have tolebrutinib in advanced progressive MS. We're really doing things that have not been done before. And I think that makes people proud here, but it sets us up for, like I said earlier, this top line advance and this pipeline advance. And that's where we create the most value for patients, of course, but more importantly also, well, no, not more importantly, but at the same time, those that invest in us. And those
that's what I was going to ask you. As a shareholder, somebody who watches the stock, which you do you think that the pipeline is accurately reflected in the stock?
I don't think it is.
Overly reflected in the stock? Under-reflected?
It's clearly under-reflected, but it's sort of understandable because we really don't get the credit till we get into phase 3, where the probability of success is much higher. And so, we have a really burgeoning phase 2 program. We have 12 medicines moving phase 2 and phase 3. So later this year, with the launches, the advancements in the pipeline, we have itepekimab in COPD. We have readouts in amlitelimab in asthma, our oral TNF, R1. And as people get to understand those and remove the risk from their models, we're going to start to see an acceleration in the appreciation of the pipeline and its value. And again, that and the underlying commercial performance, that's what we strive for. That's what we've been working hard for. And now it's starting to come together. That's the best thing about being in the company right now.
And back to the buybacks and dividends, I just wondered if you walk us through the thinking in terms of either taking that money and returning it to shareholders effectively, or taking that money and investing in new R&D. Sort of, what's the trade-off for you?
Well, we said back as long ago as 2019, our capital allocation priorities were pretty fixed. We would invest in our growth and our pipeline first. We would respect our progressive dividend. We're a dividend aristocrat, of course. Close to 4% yield. That's our proposal for the AGM. And we also said that buybacks were on the table. We think we are a good investment right now. So we think it makes sense to do it right now because it's important to, we can show the confidence, but we think we're going to be on the rise, which makes sense to have good timing. We've not really made a trade-off against R&D. We made a tough call. I think you may remember back in Q3 2023, when we said we're going to double down on our pipeline and change our guidance. Now, it's proved to be correct. Right. Maybe it was a bold decision at the time, but we've not underspent on the pipeline, and that's the magic. So we're able to do this for our shareholders right now. It's a sensible thing to do. But we've taken R&D to almost a company high, and we'll maintain that, keep that at that level in 2025.
Paul, before we let you go, RFK having his confirmation hearings just yesterday. There's some people in the country very excited about the things he's talking about in terms of food and health and the like. But a number of your peers have also described him as anti-science. What do you say?
Well, there is, of course, a high degree of interest in food and health and those things, and that frankly should be. In science, I think, at least my take-home is there's a call from him and those around him for a high degree of transparency. All I care about is two things. One, understand the level of transparency there is right now and how we work with the regulator, what we share. It's extraordinary. And I think once it's fully understood, I think that's good news. And secondly, we ask this question every time, doesn't matter who's leading, doesn't matter which administration. We ask, what does it mean for patients? Well, how can we protect out of pocket? How do we keep it low? Insulin, for example, as low as $0, as high as $35. How do we do that? And we look through the patient's lens, as we should do, and that's where we'll work with the administration to try and make sure we get it right. Irrespective of
he might not be a fan of your new vaccine, for example.
Again, we believe in the data. We're highly transparent. You know this, like everybody else does. After clean water, vaccines are the most effective population health strategy. I think the first step is always make sure everybody understands the data, make sure everybody is clear about the transparency. We work in a highly regulated industry, and I think that's a good jumping off point. Again, we see political changes, leadership changes around the world continuously. We start with what's best for patients, how can we explain, how can we make sure people understand, and we take it from there.
I assume you've studied what he has said about vaccines, and you're in the business of selling vaccines. So how do you square those two ideas?
Well, like I said earlier, if you look at 100,000 babies that we just did take as a group.
No, I know the math. I'm saying he has come out publicly, quite publicly, and said that he believes that some of these vaccines are effectively causing autism and other things, and there should be a much more significant rethink about the number of vaccines, the schedule of vaccines, how they work, the efficacy, all of that, right? I mean, that's what he has said. So, and that is irrespective of the science, if you will, or irrespective of some of the data that I imagine you could provide on the other side. I'm just saying he's now created a debate in this country about something that I think you think is settled, is almost settled law. He says is not settled at all.
I take nothing as settled these days. I've been around too long, but I recognize that first thing you do, share the data, make sure people know what's available. And I think, what you're appealing to is for people to take the time to take a look at it. The personalities and the different approaches, that's always going to change, and it's always going to make the way we talk a little bit different. But frankly, we believe in what we do. We believe in how transparent we are. We believe in the standards at which we're held. That just doesn't change. His own perspectives, and I haven't met him, so I can't comment, but I would say that in the end, we're just trying to make sure everybody knows what we're dealing with, and we do the best thing for patients, babies, the elderly, and make sure they get what they need. Right.